I'm quite surprised I've never talked about Emily is Away on this channel. Now, that boat has long sailed. It's been so long since I've played it that I can't remember all the details, and I didn't want to put myself through it again, especially recently. But I recently acquired Emily is Away Less Than 3, or just 3, I'm going to call it from now on, from Humble Choice, and realised I hadn't played Emily is Away 2. Now, they're not sequential. You don't have to play them in order. From what I can remember from the first one, it definitely holds true for the latter two. It's almost like the parallel universes of each other. They're all like a group of friends, senior year of high school, about 2008-2009, communicating through various channels. So it's not sequential. You don't have to pick up the story between them all. It would be kind of cool if that worked, but obviously they'd have to have your choices carried over, and with development cycles of years between being quite an independent developer, it's not that easy to do and not really feasible. So doing this where it's like, okay, I've learned things from the last one and I've got a new idea, so let's do a similar tale, but this way, I'm totally fine with it. It's not cash grabby at all, I don't think. But yeah, I played through these and I can't say I enjoyed them, because I don't think this is a game you enjoy. This is a game you experience. This is really a time capsule of sorts. Now, okay, at that time period I was like 25, well outside of the range, but I remember vaguely what it was like years before. So I could get the idea. You know, I could understand where this was going and I could appreciate. But the weird thing is, for something called Emily is Away, Emily isn't the character that I gravitate to. She's what I think a lot of people call a basic B these days, but I gravitated more towards Evelyn, although she does have an issue. What she listens to is not punk rock. There are no Buzzcocks in her playlist. She listens to pop punk. It's like Green Day and that kind of level. It's not at all what she thinks. But either way, it's a lot more entertaining than just your basic chart stuff. But yeah, I gravitated towards her more, and the one thing I really didn't like, I remembered when I was playing 2, about the first one, because it also does it, are the timed moments. Because you're trying to talk to 2 people at once, and for the most part you can just flick between the windows fine. But there come these timed moments, and if you take too long to respond, whoever you're ignoring will get a bit snarky. But you have a get out, you're like, oh, I'm busy. But if it happens again, then that's it. They don't talk to you for a long while. And I get it, you know, teenagers are super dramatic and think that their problems are the centre of the universe. I was like that, I'm sure you were. But it was such a stressful part of the gameplay that I nearly gave up. I was like, oh, not this again. But I was like, no, power through. Stick to the person that you want more. I don't care if Emily falls out with me. Awful, I know. But again, kind of like teenagers. But I do like the fact that in Less Than 3, which I said I was just going to call 3, I don't know why I've done that. But I do like the fact that it was removed there, although it has its own issues. But yeah, the first 2 are basically AAM simulators, and they're kind of fun. You can set your profile picture to little things and all of that. It's a lot more... I think there's a lot more fun than 3. Because 3... The reason it's Less Than 3 is obviously because of the heart symbol. And this one is a relationship simulator more than just a time capsule. And this is why I think Kyle Seeley is a sadist. I spent the time going through, again, like I say, Evelyn was the person I gravitated towards more, so I spent that time nurturing that relationship. The fact that you now get a full binary choice quite early on, Emily or Evelyn, take your path, done. You don't have to worry about juggling them and worrying that they're stressing about you taking too long. So that was fine. I appreciate that change. But I played through, and Evelyn, again, you know, like I say, had a certain type of music that she enjoyed. She dabbled in hip-hop a little because there's still the aggression to it. I get it. There are some hip-hop things I enjoy. And over time, you see that there's these comments with this Steve guy that you can't see because you have to be friends. And I sent a friend request and didn't receive anything. But she started sharing a lot more hip-hop stuff, even sharing one to me going, hey, listen to more hip-hop. And I'm like, this is strange. Not knowing, again, the things about Steve that I learned later. But eventually you find that through a friend, you know, oh, have you seen all these posts that she's like, flirty posts that she's been doing to this Steve guy? and the fact that he's really into hip-hop and maybe she's changing for him. I was doing my best. I gently confronted about Steve, but I still ended up losing the relationship because the gentle confrontation was in a separate chapter. We seemed to get through it. It was fine. But then the last chapter was a soft breakup, really. She was phrasing it as, and I know I'm saying it like she's a real person because that's how invested I get to these things, but she was saying how she didn't want to call it a breakup, maybe just a break, just give her some time and space. It was the coward's way out. It was saying, I want to break up, but I don't want to say that because then I'm the bad guy, so I'm going to make you want to break up with me, and then I can get sympathy points, actually, arguably. That's really evil. But either way, it was at least the coward's way out of not wanting to say it herself. The second part might be true, but I can't confirm or deny. And the thing that really got me was, it's not you, it's me. I'm like, dude, no, seriously. But yeah, she basically had me agree to a break. There was a breakup in everything but name. She cemented when I said, well, are we going to be like exclusive still? It's like, no. It's like, so you just want to go out then? But I felt it. I put a post up on Facebook saying, I will do a video down the line, but I feel like I've really just had a breakup here. It's terrible. And it was so heartbreaking. And I went, what could I have done differently? You know me, I don't like to play multiple times. So I was like, well, I'll look online. And now I'm qualifying why I said Kyle Seeley is a sadist. Your first run through is destined to fail without save editing. And there's a secondary point here which I'm not that comfortable with, although this might be unintentional subtext. If you consider that first relationship is meant to fail, and the idea is you play through a second time and go through with the person that you didn't necessarily want, isn't that giving us a message of things might not work out, settle? Because I don't want that. I also don't want to go through the second time with the first one, if that's possible, because it's just weird to try that again. It's like, you don't get a do-over in life. So to make it make more sense, I would have to go the Emily route, but again, not something I'm interested in. I don't want to do that. I chose Evelyn because I was more interested in Evelyn. And yes, we have relationships where we have such a strong bond, or what we want, I guess, is a strong bond out of a relationship, and we don't get it with someone that we really, really, really like. Someone who ticks all the boxes. But that doesn't mean that we have to settle for someone who is completely the opposite. I know the game can't give us like a vast array of characters who we can go, well, okay, maybe it didn't work out, but this person's also very close to my interests. And it's not so much settling, it's a case of, well, I still want a relationship, maybe they'll be fine for me. It felt very much like a settle message, but again, I might be reading very much between the lines and coming out with completely the wrong conclusion. I would still say, even though I've told you the plot and everything, I would still say, give these a go. If you were born around the same age as Amy, weirdly enough, about the same time in 1990, about then, and you have this memory of this time of your life, then it might be a weird nostalgia simulator for you. But even if you're a bit older, maybe even a bit younger, as long as you're old enough to understand what it's saying and what the messages it's giving us, and yeah, just have a really great soundtrack, because I will end on the high. Again, Kyle Seeley is a sadist. I will not back down from that point, but on a high, I think they found such a great loophole in wanting a licensed soundtrack, but not really being able to afford one. Because I can't remember how it worked in the first one, whether there was anything like this, but in the second one, you're given individual videos, which would then autoplay to the next one. But in the third one, you're given playlists of videos that are on a fake version of YouTube. There's also little Easter eggs where you can find fake versions of different websites. I appreciate the amount of time and effort involved in that. But the idea is you can go to these playlists and listen to stuff. So you've got a licensed soundtrack. There's just basically an embedded YouTube player without the funding needed for a licensed soundtrack. And I love that. There are some songs here that I'm like, wow, that's that old? Or I remember this from such and such a place or such and such a time. And even discovering some new music, which I guess by now is old music, over a decade old, but it's still new to me. And I totally loved it for that. The idea of having a soundtrack that makes sense in the world of the game, I loved it. I thought it was great. I think it's what elevated it to me, because I was sat there just bopping along to songs and then going, oh wait, my heart's just been ripped out, but this tune slaps. I don't care about my heart anymore. This is a really good song. These are fun. These have a really good sound. Well, not fun, I don't think that's the right word, but these are a good time. And if you've got the emotional fortitude to deal with it, go for it. They're not too expensive. Hunt them out now and give them a go. Let me know what you found, you know, what secrets you might have found that I might not have, because I didn't find everything. There was a few sites, but there might be others out there. And all the different icons you can unlock in the other ones, etc. The playlist, everything like that. Just let me know your choices. Who did you side with? Did you go through a second run through and have your heart ripped out once more by the sadist, Kyle Seeley? But until next time, as always, thank you for watching and take care.